Welcome to the third part of episode number 2 of the After Effects 2 Resolve video. Now in this case, what we're gonna do again is we're gonna use that same second one as we did for this one. We're gonna copy that and we're gonna right click and open it in Fusion. Now in this case, it's actually pretty easy to adapt things since we already have built these jump or these bouncing effect. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go here to the first frame where the first keyframe where it is up in the air, and what we're gonna do is actually just drag these to the side, and you can drag it as much as you want. We can do it 0.6 in this case, and then we're gonna go to the other one and we're gonna drag these to the side. So it's gonna be 0.68. It could be, it doesn't have to be 0.1 every time. You can play around with the different details. And again, we're gonna bring these to the side. And then again with this one. And a last time. And then one here. But one thing you have to take into account is that here we're gonna have to create another keyframe. Let's say here at 55, and we're just gonna drag these to the side. You'll see why in a second. Now, the reason why I create these line or this extra keyframe here is because we want to add more bounces so it looks a little bit more realistic here. In order to do that, we can actually just go and make sure that you have these click selected. And then what you can do is actually just click here and make 2 new points. And you can actually just drag this point up like that and adjust it. And then you can just keep doing that until it sort of like becomes small enough that the bounce stops naturally. Now you gotta take into account that if you do it this method and not create the actual keyframes every time, you will not see here the keyframes being marked. So you have to pay attention to that. Okay, now that we have these, if we look at it, it looks fine. It's sort of like a cartoon type of bounce, but what we can do is actually just select all of these and press this smooth or Shift S, and then we're gonna have to adjust these here so that the bouncing is actually a little bit less curved in the bottom part, like that, and do that same thing for all of them. What you don't want it to be is for when the ball is falling to be this curve right here, because it doesn't look really natural. So if you want to adjust only one side, you can just hold Control and you will be able to adjust just that one side. Again, we're going to do it the same for this last one. Hold Control there, and then this one, this last one. And what we can do for this one is actually bring that a little bit closer, like that. And now we have that. Now, one other thing that we have to do here is we want to animate the ball rotating. So for these, if you want to make the ball smaller, you can actually use the size option right here too, so that it fits our screen a little bit better. But what we will have to do later is also adjust that mirror effect that we have here, since the ball is not touching, the reflection is not really touching the ball anymore. Okay, now that we have these here, what we can do is we're going to create an angle keyframe. And here, as it's going to the side, we want to actually move this angle so that it sort of follows the same angle of the curve. There again, and we're just bringing it continuously, go clockwise or counterclockwise if you're going the opposite way. The important thing is that you always go to the same direction here so that it sort of follows the path that it is taking. Now here again, I'm gonna make the ball smooth like that. Not smooth, I mean rotate like that. And here, it's not looking that great because it seems that it's on the side. That's what we wanted to do there. Now it's rotating. Now here we have to rotate this again. Go a few more frames and basically repeat this process so that the movement of our ball here is a little bit more realistic. Now, one thing you'll notice here is that the ball stopped moving and stopped getting squished. And that is because we didn't we'd only have that up until this point. And if you want to add more, you can just add more keyframes in that case. If you're not sure how to do that, check the second part of these episodes so that you know how to do that. You can just make a full complete rotation here, but then it's sometimes when it's bouncing, if you're not adjusting it manually, the rotation will look kind of a bit odd. So that when we have that quick jump right here, you'll see how it sort of it doesn't rotate that much. So we're gonna create that keyframe there and try to fix that. In the end, it's actually all about just adjusting those little details. Sometimes actually just taking off the last rotation keyframes from this little jump here would make it flow a little bit more naturally. But it's really about all the details. This type of work is really detailed and it takes time. So you have to just like play around and see what looks fine here. And the last thing that you can also do for the angle here is actually go to the angle section here, and you can just see everything on screen. And if you want, you can press S. So then it makes the rotation a little bit smoother in that case, except at this ending part, there's a little bit more tweaking, but it doesn't have to be perfect for this tutorial sake. The important thing is that you know that you will have to tweak some things. Here you will see it doesn't rotate as much. There it goes. I like that better. After a while, I spent like 5 minutes just doing that little section there. Okay, so after pressing S, it seemed that that part worked fine. I like how this looks now. And if it is a little bit too much on the motion blur, you can actually lower the shutter angle so it doesn't blur that much. And the last thing here that we also have to adjust is, again, our mirror. So for that, we can actually go to where the first keyframe here at the floor is. Actually, we're gonna go to the frame here where the ball is fully round, and then adjust the mirror right here. By just bringing the Y value up here, then we can check these out again. And there it goes. And that is basically how you can create a ball that's rolling and bouncing at the same time. If you enjoyed this episode of the series, make sure to leave a like on this video and on the other videos too if you have watched them. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video here in SUALVI. Bye.